In 1960, I was 8 years old. I was the youngest of 5 kids in a pretty typical middle-class Catholic family. My father and I were very close. Every Sunday was a day that we hung out together. The rest of the family still in bed. Daddy and I got up and went to 6:45 Mass. We went out for breakfast afterward. We went to the drugstore and bought both the Chicago Tribune and Chicago Sun-Times newspapers from his hometown. We would arrive home, the family would be rolling out of bed. Take us to 11 o'clock Mass. Take us to 12:30 Mass. My dad would say, you're on your own. We've already done our Sunday obligation. So the family would hop in the station wagon and head out. Dad and I would stay behind and work together the chores of the season, raking leaves, cutting grass, shoveling snow, painting the downspouts, whatever needed doing around the house, Dad and John did together. Dad would read to me out of the newspaper. He would let me read the funnies, of course, and he taught me how to work that popular word puzzle, the jumble, which I work to this day, and I think about him every time I do. He came to me one day and said, I want you to read this article by David Condon in the Chicago Tribune. Okay, Daddy, I replied. Later that afternoon, as he and I prepared dinner, as we did every Sunday, he asked what I thought of the article, and I had not read it yet, so I said I hadn't gotten to it, but I would certainly do it. He said, I want to make sure you read that. Sure, Daddy, I said, I will. Now, my dad would cook only one meal a week, but I learned how to cook from my father. I'm no Alton Brown, and I'm no Rachel Ray, but just ask my date how my flank steak, how my scalloped potatoes and pork chops are. Especially how my pork tenderloin dish is. I learned that all from my dad. We'd sit as a family for dinner, of course, and afterward he would type a letter to his father. He would type a letter to his sister. He would write out a check or two for the bills that were due. And then Dad and John got in the car and went to the post office in East Lansing, Michigan. After I got to put the letters in the slot, we would go to the Miller ice cream shop for fresh hand-dipped ice cream cones. Then it was home to bed. That particular Sunday, driving down Abbott Road, which today is a 4-lane with a middle turn lane street. Back then it was 1 lane north, 1 lane south, usually pretty busy. It was along the northern edge of Michigan State University. How did you like that article? He asked me. Well, I didn't want to disappoint him again, now did I? Oh, it was great, Daddy, I said. He says, that David Condon, he's a character, isn't he? He's a practical joker. He can describe things with his words. He can tell stories like nobody else I've ever read. Do you like David Condon, Johnny? Oh, I do, Daddy, I said. And you liked this article, he said. Of course, Daddy. I really liked the article today. Another block or so down the road, he laughed and he said, and in that article about the elephants, was that not hilarious about the elephants? I began to laugh. Yes, Daddy, I said. It was so funny about the elephants. The car slowed. Even more. And now a full stop. Cars backing up behind us. Horns beeping. My father slowly turned to me and said, don't ever lie to me again. The station wagon rolled slowly forward, picked up a little more speed. I have never felt so empty, so afraid, and so ashamed in my life. We got to the post office. He handed me the letters. I didn't want to put them in the slot. We got to the ice cream store. The last thing in the world I wanted to do was eat an ice cream cone. When he asked what I want, I shook my head. He ordered my favorite, single scoop bubble gum on a sugar cone. I ate it on the way home, and I thought I was going to throw up every time I swallowed some. We got home. He went in his room, and I went in mine. I'm sure I lied to the man again, if not once, 100 times, but I'll bet I didn't do it for a year. I've never felt so ashamed, and although I don't think things changed between us, I think things changed between us, and we're never the same again.